close. Y'all give me a minute. As soon as I knew it, technical difficulties gonna happen as soon as I went live. You knew it was gonna happen. So y'all give me a minute. Give me a moment. Soon as I go live. Knew it was gonna happen. Knew it was gonna happen. We gonna make this work. We gonna make it work. Y'all give me a moment. Devil is a lie. Take the energy off. Give me a minute, y'all. I'm sorry. It's like when you're gonna say something that a mass of people needs to hear, and that will give them the ability or power to change something that an adversary don't want changed, then things like this start to happen, all kind of disruptions and distractions and all that kind of stuff. So um, I'm already prayed over all this right here, so just bear with me. We doing this. We are doing this. I need to restart everything. We're gonna have a really good, deep, informative, and necessary conversation tonight as soon as I can go live. Have to repower everything to start everything up. Mm. But while I have you and while I'm drinking this here, this positivity alkaline water, if you can get it, get it. This is a black owned company in Georgia. Positivity alkaline water. It is the bomb. I mean, you talk about water and water is just water. This is the bomb. Okay. If you get a chance, support the black owned business, Positivity Water. Okay. While we're waiting, might as well do a little commercial. Okay, let's try this again. All right. Great rise. Great rise. Great rise, Moonlight's beloved. This is your girl, Queen Goddess, the King Advocate. It is Melanated Monday. I had a little technical difficulty, so forgive me. Okay. Y'all come on in. You know, if I don't start on time at 9 o'clock, something is wrong, right? Because y'all know I'm timely. So come on in. I'm here. I'm here until it's over. Okay. Come on in so we can have this conversation. Tonight's discussion, again, we're doing relationship talk. Part two is actually probably like part five for real, but Part two for this week, truth or scare. Truth or scare. We are talking about mental health issues and trauma and how they affect our relationships or any relationship. What's going on, Phoenix? Thank you, loved one, for being here. I appreciate you. I was having some technical difficulties, so I had to start a minute or two or five later, but peace. Thank you for being here. Hopefully my folks over here will come on in so we can have this conversation on our toxic relationships. It is not funny, but sometimes you just gotta laugh so you don't cry. But again, tonight's discussion is entitled "Truth or Scare." Truth or scare. We're dealing with mental health issues, emotional health, trauma, and how all of these things affect relationships. I will definitely open up the phone lines if you want to call in. If you have something you want to share, comment, question, concern, and you want to do that live, you can call in 770 906 5271 770 906 5271. I don't know what's happening over here with Facebook. I don't know what's happening. If the notification didn't go out, if the devil decided gonna play all day with me today, I don't know. I don't know, but I'll give a minute. I'll give a minute. I hope all is well with you, though. We 6 minutes in. I hope all is well, Phoenix. We're gonna give folks maybe another minute or two, and then after that, if it's me and you, it's me and you. All right, we got some things happening over here. All right, let me know who's there. You're starting to come on in. Let me know who's there. We had some technical difficulties, so I'm running a little bit late, but I appreciate you for coming in. Whoever it is, let me know who it is. Say something. Who are you? I see you coming. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I want to greet you properly. Just let me know who's there. This is probably not going to be an in and out type conversation because we need to go into some in depth details about some things, but I want you all to get on in here. And if you have somebody that's with you or somebody you want to share the video with, by all means, do so. Okay, tonight's conversation again is truth or scare. We are going to address mental health issues and trauma and how they affect relationships. All too many times people get into relationships and they are not mentally ready. Okay, they are not emotionally ready. They're not stable enough to be in relationships. And what ends up happening is whatever their trauma is, whatever they've experienced throughout their life, that becomes their norm. So they don't know that their normal is not healthy because that's all they know. So they practice it continuously and they don't see anything wrong with it. And if you try to show them that something's wrong with it, you get dismissed, right? You get dismissed, you get dogged out, you get left, whatever the case is, or you the one that's crazy, you don't out your mind, you ain't living, whatever said, right? Because the trauma that the individual has suffered has never gone addressed. They've never healed from it. So the brain would take that trauma and process it as, okay, well, this is reality for you. This is the truth for you. This is information. We're going to hold on to this. We're going to store it. And then we're just going to keep living it out because this is your reality. What's going on, G Walker? I see you, loved one. Appreciate you for being here. I said it stores it as a person's reality, as distorted as it may be to everyone else, to that individual. It's normal. Okay, we have gotten to a point of normalizing things that are absolutely not. We're normalizing sickness. You know what I'm saying? We're normalizing wickedness because that's what we're used to. That's all we know. Um, it's accepted. That's how people cope with their traumas. Is they make it they justify it, right? They make it or make themselves comfortable in their trauma. They use it for what they consider their good, right? Um, but it's never the case. What people don't overstand is when you have suffered emotional, spiritual, psychological trauma and you do not heal from that and you get into relationships, you carry all of that into your relationships. We talk about energy a lot. Energy is a living, transferable, you can't kill it type thing. Okay. Whatever is in you is being transferred over into another person. You are depositing this energy into the person that you are with. Particularly if you are a male, you are depositing into your partner. Literally, this energy is being exchanged. Oh, Wanda wants to join. Come on in then. I'll have you on. It is important that we take care of our mental health, our emotional health, our spiritual health. A lot of, I'm gonna go back, okay, real quick. I did a quick post on, well, a couple days ago from work, and it talked about how people are out here all mentally effed up and they don't have a clue. They don't know they ain't mentally right. They don't know they're suffering from mental illness or emotional illness. They have no idea. And they're out here just living their life and passing on these diseases and infecting other people with their trauma because that's what they know. For them, it's normal. So they don't know that they effed up, right? No idea. Let me see. We got somebody that wants to come in. So let me bring her in. Come on in here. Okay. It's important that we do these types of checkups like we do everything else. You go to the doctor, you want to see if your blood type is, not your blood type, but your blood pressure is where it's supposed to be. You want to make sure you don't have no STDs. You want to make sure you're not losing your mind, whatever it is. We need to have these same types of checkups on our mental health, on our emotional health, on our spiritual health. Wanda, are you there? I can't see you. What? How you gonna join? How you gonna join and not be seen? Okay. Okay, well, come on, talk to me. So we have Miss Wanda on the line. What you want to share with us, loved one? Thank you for being here. I'm gonna pause on what I'm saying. What you want to add?
I'm just saying everything you say is absolutely right. That mental health, I'm trying to tell you, I don't care how beautiful you are. When your mind goes, you're done.
That's it.
You're done.
Absolutely.
You are really done.
Absolutely. And I was saying a lot of times too, when people are emotionally traumatized, and they don't realize it or that they have not healed from that trauma and they get into other relationships, they don't think about how their issues are affecting or going to affect the people that they're in relationships with. There's a bit of selfishness, um, or just not even being awares of it at all. There's no connectivity to, okay, well, I'm traumatized. If I'm not healed, I'm gonna cause this other person to be traumatized because it's like they're living out their it's a trauma response, right? They continuously live trauma responses over and over and over again. Whatever happened to them, they found a way to cope, and it's just cope because they didn't heal. They found a way to cope, which basically puts them another altered state of mind, an altered behavior, an altered person, if you will. They are no longer the original person that they were. So they're operating as a misrepresentative of self, and they're passing these things on to the person that they're with. So, for instance, if you get in a relationship, let's say you're in a relationship with somebody and you've grown to love this individual, you've grown to really admire them, you've gotten close or whatever, you've bonded with this individual, and some time has passed, and you learn that the person that you were in love with or loving is not the real person, that they were always showing you their trauma person. They were showing you that individual. They were showing you the person or the entity that they have become to cope with their trauma. So you didn't know that you weren't dealing with the real person. So the person that you fell in love with is not the real person. But now you are traumatized because you're in love with or fell in love with a person that doesn't even exist. These are the types of things people don't think about when they get into relationships or they want to be in relationships with other people. You have to make sure you are healed, not pacified, not justified, healed from your trauma, at least enough that you can be in a healthy relationship and recognize when it's a healthy relationship and when it's not. If you know you're not in a healthy relationship, get out of it. If you know you can't provide a healthy relationship, get out of it. The problem I have with people in general is that we are so selfish and we want what we want, and it doesn't matter how we get it, it doesn't matter who's affected or infected. We want what we want, when we want it, how we want it, and from whom we want it. We don't have any thought of what might happen if for the other person. We'll think about what might happen if for ourselves because we don't want to face the consequences. We don't want to have the possibility that I might not get what I want. I might not be able to share this. I might not be able to blah, 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 whatever it is. So we completely take the other person out of the equation because we want what we want. So we're just not going to tell them what we're really doing. We're not going to tell them how we really feel. We're not going to tell them what we've really been through or who we really are because there's a possibility we might not be accepted. In doing that, you have caused an unnecessary trauma to another innocent being. I hope you all are still there because it's dark on my screen. But I hope you all are still there. You have caused an unnecessary trauma to an innocent being. And when that happens, God don't like that. So let's do that real quick. God don't like that. You get dealt with a different kind of way when you cause harm to an innocent. When you cause harm to an innocent, you get dealt with in a different kind of way. I hope y'all are still there. I don't know what's going on right here, but some things are happening over here on Facebook. If y'all can still hear me, because I can't see a thing, the screen is completely black. If y'all can still hear me, throw up some thumbs or hearts or something. Let me know that you're still there. I'm still showing that I'm live, but I can't tell. So let me know. I might have to restart this thing again. What's really happening? Y'all give me a moment, okay? But if you have any questions, comments, or concerns at this point, if you want to call in, feel free. 770-906-5271. 770-906-5271. Stephanie, I see you, loved one. I see all of you who have come in, but now I don't see anything else. So I don't know what to say. If you all are still there, can you hear me and see me, whoever just came in? Because I have nothing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to finish this. I'm going to end this with you all, and I'm going to come right back on, okay? Because I don't know what's happening. So I'm going to end this and come right back on. All right. See what I'm saying? Are you with me, Phoenix? You with me, love? Let me see what we got going on here. And we about at the end of retrograde, so we got another week. Let's try this again. Okay, hopefully y'all will come on back. Come on back. I don't know what happened, but it just went black and everybody was gone. So, again, what we're discussing is truth or scare and the effects of mental health issues and trauma on relationships. What's being said is when people suffer from emotional traumas, psychological traumas, any type of trauma, and they are not healed properly and they get into relationships, they cause the person with whom they are in a relationship to also suffer a trauma. It's like they're passing on the energy of the trauma that they've experienced. They're passing on the energy of the trauma of trying to act like the trauma did not occur. They're just continuously passing on this energy. So the person with whom they are in a relationship with unknowingly is being constantly traumatized, is being constantly given the energy of the person that is suffering, and they have no idea. And again, a lot of times people are suffering from mental illnesses, emotional illnesses, psychological illnesses, and they have no idea. People, and I hate to say it like this, but people crazy out here. Okay, it's easy for us to see some characteristics in other people and say, well, that individual needs some help, or they need to see somebody, they need to get some therapy or whatever. But when it comes to our own selves, we miss it. We miss it big time. We miss it because we're not willing to look at ourselves in that way. We want to be live that we are, even though we'll say we're not perfect, we want to be live that we are, and that we are so very aware and conscious of what's going on in our minds, that we're so absolutely 100% in control because we think the way we've always thought. We do the things that we've always done in the exact same way. So for us, it's normal, but it might not be. Or it may be normal to you, but it's not necessarily healthy. Okay. And if we don't get into a habit of doing mental checks on ourselves like we do for everything else, we're going to fail. We are really causing our own demise right now because of the mental health issues that we're suffering from. Yeah, y'all come on back. We are causing our own demise because of the mental health issues that we are suffering from. People who have dealt with um, traumas based on, I'll even let's do this. People who have suffered sexual traumas as children, as young adults, even as adult grown folk, particularly men. I'm gonna deal with this on the men's side. Men have a very different way of dealing with those traumas because of the stigma attached to what your manhood is supposed to be, what it's supposed to look like, how you're supposed to carry yourself. Sometimes you all take that trauma and use it, you flip it and use it as the let's see what I want to use. Like you use it for your control. You use it as a means of power, right? Not to say that you out here just taking it from people. I'm not saying it that way, but you become very seductive and lustful and whatever, and practicing things that you may not have done if those traumas didn't occur. Um, you build up desires to keep you in a certain mind frame, a certain mindset of being in control, because at one time or at the time of the trauma you didn't have control. And it's important for you to have control that way, or so rather, so you put yourself in positions where you are always in control, not overstanding that is a trauma response. You are doing something, you are carrying on behaviors as a means of coping with the trauma because you have not healed from the trauma. So a lot of times you will accept the trauma and say, well, I like it, I enjoy it. Well, this is who I am and this is what I want. But that's not really the case. That's not really the case. And you'll know that it's not the case when you're battling with it. So if what you've been doing gets you to a point where you're not sure if you still want to be doing it, but you still keep doing it, but you don't really want to do it, but this is what you know, but you want to do something else because you're tired of the drama that comes with the trauma, but you're doing all this, it's because the real you knows that the injured you is showing up and representing you, misrepresenting you. We talk about that a lot. That misrepresentative, that entity that shows up just like you, that shows up in your clothes, that shows up with your name, that shows up at your job, whatever, and says, yes, I am you, that shows up in the mirror, looks just like you, but is not that being. The real you starts to recognize the representative, the misrepresentative. That's where the battle is. So at this point, you have to make a decision. Which side do you want to win? Which side do you want to win? Okay. Sometimes people choose, they just want to stay in their misrepresentative. That's your decision. But if you're going to stay there, then you need to be honest about it. Don't bring nobody else into your shit unless you let them know I'm in some shit. I've chosen to be in this shit and I'm not going to change this shit. So if you don't want to be a part of my shit, here's your time to exit. If you agree with my shit, good shit. Okay? Don't do that. Give people an opportunity to make a decision on what they want to do because when you don't, you are deliberately causing harm to someone else because you're being selfish. You're deliberately causing harm to an innocent. And when you do that, like I stated, when you deliberately cause harm to an innocent, you get dealt with a certain kind of way spiritually. I'm just trying to told you. Okay? This is what we don't want. We want healthy relationships. We want to be in a healthy state of mind to recognize what a healthy relationship looks like. I've been transparent with this before. I've been in a relationship where the guy had been sexually abused as a child and in his adulthood to the point where he was raped in his sleep. He was raped in his sleep, and a child came from that. So because he was used to being mistreated by the women, and these were some that were in his family, okay, and some others, the child wasn't from anybody in his family, but nonetheless it wasn't consensual, he was asleep. Okay. um but because of that, because of what he was used to with the women that he had dealt with, or like say even some of his family, that somewhat became a norm for him. It was something that he was used to, he was expecting it, so all of his relationships had some type of trauma connected to it because he still had trauma connected to him. So um, when he got with me, I'm anti-trauma, I'm anti-drama, I'm anti all of that bullshit. I don't do these games, right? That's not who I am. But because that's what he was used to, and seeing me as like the complete opposite, what he did was recreate or create or attempt to create scenarios that mimicked what he was used to because he was used to it. He would try to create scenarios, put me in a whole story that he done made up in his head about what I was going to do or what I was probably doing or whatever the case is, based on what he was used to. That don't have nothing to do with your past yet. You know what I'm saying? Don't put me there. But he created a whole scenario on our relationship based on the toxic ones, the unhealthy ones, the trauma that he was in. So every relationship got a piece of his trauma. Every person he was with suffered a piece of his trauma. How fair is that? He didn't realize it was happening because that's what he was used to. We are falling We are falling, we are failing, we are effing up out here because we are not checking on our own mental health. We are not making sure that we're good individually or collectively. We are not holding each other accountable for checking on our mental health, our emotional health, our psychological health. We're going to tell the brother, go get your prostate check. Go get that check. Go get your blood pressure check. Go get an HIV check. We'll do all that, but we won't tell you, go get your mind check. Go get your emotional stability check. Go talk to somebody. Go to a therapist. Get a counselor and then some therapy. We're not doing that. Yeah, society doesn't, accept that or appreciate that, particularly amongst us. It's not okay to get help. We're just supposed to suffer in silence and keep causing trauma to our own people, to our families, causing this disconnect to continue to happen. Because that's what we're taught to do. That's acceptable. But we killing each other, and not even softly. We killing each other out here because we sick in the mind. We have experienced post-traumatic stress disorder, post-traumatic slave disorder, whatever post-traumatic disorder. We've suffered it. We're still suffering from it as a collective, which means as a collective, we have to heal before we cause our own demise because we're infecting each other with our trauma. Trauma is passed on from generation to generation. I've said this too. A lot of us are repeating cycles that we've never lived. We're re experiencing trauma that we never experienced in the first place. Do you understand what I mean by that? We are reliving trauma that we never lived in the first place because it's passed down genetically. It's in the body, it's in the DNA, it's in our makeup. We think all this is bull. We don't, or don't even consider it as a possibility or probability at all. Trauma literally stays in the body if it is not healed and corrected. It is a code written in the cells, in the DNA. It's a code written that says, oh, this one is fucked up. We're going to pass this on. Fucked up. All right. We're going to keep fucked up. All right. We're going to fucked up. Literally. So we pass these things on. Trauma. Up. Trauma goes that. Trauma goes there. Fucked up. We go right here. Trauma goes. And then this is what the DNA strand looks like. This is the information. This is what's written on our codes. Okay. So then now that we have made children, or now that we have planted seeds in someone to make children, these things are now being passed on. Now we are recreating genetically this strand, this fucked up trauma strand DNA. We are passing it on to the children, right? When they have children, they pass on that same genetic code. The information has been written. Literally, it changes the structures of the cells. It changes the structure. It changes how information is received and given out throughout the body. Literally. This is why we have to heal from our trauma. We are raising generations of traumatically injured people. We're passing on trauma genetically. This is the curse of 400 years. Okay? This is the curse passed from the father down to the sons, from the mother down to the daughters. These are curses. And people laugh when they hear that. They brush it off. They ain't cursed. Yeah, you are. And some are more so because they don't even recognize that they are, and they keep repeating the pattern. They're making the pattern bigger, even. What are we going to do? If you'd like to call, feel free, 770-906-5271. 770-906-5271. Thank you for coming back on Facebook. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on, but I appreciate you for coming back. Again, tonight's discussion is truth or scare, the effects of mental health issues and trauma on our relationships. Now, when I say truth or scare, it's because we're talking about people who have been emotionally traumatized, and their way of coping with trauma often ends up in them basically taking on a whole different um, persona, whatever it is. They will literally become somebody else that doesn't suffer from these trauma events. They will become somebody that they weren't when the trauma occurred. They will develop other personality dysfunctions. People talk about narcissism all the time, and then we hear it so much that we don't believe that it is as relevant as it is, because the term narcissism is new. However, the condition is not. What it's being called is just different. What it is always been here. Okay. And unfortunately, our melanated people, and a lot of our melanated men are suffering with it and have no idea that they are, or refuse to accept the possibility that they might be. Okay. Now, let me make it clear: narcissistic behavior, or narcissistic traits, rather, are different, because everybody at some point will have a trait or two. Okay. When you have when all your traits are that, you probably should be diagnosed and receive some treatment for it. Because if you don't, you will continuously be living in a fantasy, a made up world that doesn't get any better. And then you cause this trauma to roll over on other people that care about you, or people that you are trying to be in relationships with. We do have a caller, so let me take this call. Who do we have on this here line? Like I don't
Mr.
know.
Walker.
What's going on, G Walker?
Yes. I just want to reiterate what you just said about. Actually, I was about to type a statement, but you just really further, how should I say, solidified it. What I was about to say by saying what you're saying. You were sitting up here carrying on what I was calling a Willie Lynch slave mentality.
Mm-hmm.
For they're carrying on, and they weren't even here.
Right.
We don't, like the Bible says, you don't even know what happened 100 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We don't. Were you here 100 years ago?
I was not.
No. Okay, man, wasn't. Neither was I.
Okay.
So how do we, like I said, how do we know?
Right.
What happened years ago? There's nothing new under the sun.
That is correct.
But that don't mean. Yeah, but that's good. That's the gospel too. But at the same time, today God is doing a new thing. So why is God doing a new thing, but you're not?
That part.
Why is God looking at the future, but you're not?
Right.
Why is God looking at for you to change? He's the only one that shouldn't change, because I'm God and I change it or not.
Right.
Now he changes his methods. He doesn't do it the way you may expect it to, because God don't answer to you.
Correct.
You answer to him. But until your best counselor is a God counselor. Your best help is your self-help from God.
Right.
You seek the one who created you, not the one who's trying to cremate you.
Okay.
In other words, seek the one who's trying to give you life.
Right.
Trying to help you have an abundant life. And the other one is trying to kill you and end your life. How about that?
That part. Absolutely.
But a little bit more, I want to say, basically, and this is the other part that I was going to say, is that a lot of your cousins are sitting up here using something, like you say, that you have no recollection, no mental, no physical recollection about. I don't know about you. I don't want to get you try to hit me with a whoop or something like that. I'm sorry. it's the end for somebody. I don't even want to know what that. See, I don't even want to let that come off, roll off my tongue.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm trying to convey is that, just reiterate what you just said. There is no. I mean, there is. You want to use this Willie Lynch mentality, like you say, always want to shuck and jive and be like a clown and always clowning, always full of FOS. You know what that means? Full of it.
Yeah, I do.
Don't never want to just just don't want to be serious about nothing. And so now you giving, what you're doing is giving these modern day pharaohs, these modern day Caesars, control, because you don't want to take everybody talking about I'm this and that. I'm a boss and I'm this. No, you know what? Being a boss is part of that. Is being responsible for yourself, for your actions, for your non-reactions. There's two kinds of communication: verbal and non-verbal.
Mm-hmm.
So you say one thing, but you're doing another. What is that other than the hypocrite?
Right.
Clown.
It's dangerous, first of all.
Yes, it is.
It's very dangerous.
Yes, it is. Come on. And I'm going to end it with it like this, because I know you got some other stuff to say. You show up, young lady.
I appreciate you.
My mother, my dad told me a lot of things, but so did my mother. My mother told me, though, she said, son, if you can around people that, anybody that never can admit that they're wrong, she didn't say, and she went on to transition in 03, but she talked to me for years. If you're around somebody that can't admit that they're wrong, get away from them.
Right.
Don't even be around them, because, in other words, she didn't call them a fool, which they are. She didn't call them a nut, which they are. And see, let me say this. Let me say something else. Not everybody is what is it, ADHD?
Right.
Whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody is narcissist. Let me say this real quick. And I'm not trying to knock anybody, whatever. But what these Europeans try to do is put a scientific name on something, so they can get government funding.
Absolutely. No, we know that.
Yeah. What you need to do is that, and I know everybody don't have the same the strength, especially like me or whatever the case might be. What you need to do is take that twisty tie that you got on that bread and untie that mug, and because no 12-step program, no other program is going to work until the program inside of you works. And the best way to get that program to work is to turn to God. Say, Lord, I don't want to be messed up. I don't want to be full of crap. Right. I don't want to be twisted in my mind. I don't want to be twisted in my soul. I don't want. Then you look not to be that way.
Right.
So if you're sitting up there being that way, it's because you're comfortable in your own uncomfortableness. You're comfortable in your own frustration. Yep. You're comfortable in your own mess.
Exactly. That's what I was saying.
You don't want to take.
I said that's exactly what I was saying. Some people will choose to stay in their trauma. They'll choose it.
Yeah. You're using that as an excuse to be full of crap.
Right. Yep.
And not take risk. But yet you talking about you responsible. You ain't responsible. Yeah. Because the best person you need before your kids, you can't take care of no kids unless you're straight, mentally sound.
Right.
Physically, kids are traumatized. Like you said, they are traumatized. Not by. Let me say something about this real quick.
Real quick.
I'll give you an example. I saw this video of this little girl, 3, 4, 5 years old, whatever. She was cursing and all that stuff, and imitating her mama. Mm-hmm. And her mama thought it was cute. But then she put on, I think she was on the Facebook thing. She put a thing on where he had no comments. She knew it was wrong, because why would you want anybody to comment? Because she knows somebody going to say, that's a shame. Mm-hmm. Because you sitting up here, like you said, you want to just piggyback on just what you just said. You are, whatever you are, whatever people want to say you are, or whatever you really, you're wrong yourself for imparting, because, a little kid's mind is like a sponge.
Absolutely.
You're going to sit up here and impart your ignorance on this kid, on this little girl.
Absolutely.
And ain't nothing cute about that. And she knew it was not cute.
Right.
But anyway.
Yep.
You were dead on it. Go ahead, sweetheart.
I appreciate your input, G, always.
Yes.
Thank you, darling.
All right.
Okay.
Later.
Okay, so if anybody else would like to call in, you want to express your thought, you got a question, comment, or concern you want to call, feel free to do so. 770-9 9065271 770 I see y'all coming on in. I appreciate you. What's going on? Shalom, Aki. I see you, loved one. I appreciate you. Alex, what's going on? Alexa, I'm sorry. I got new contacts, honey. They doing the most. Thank you, love, for being here. I appreciate you. And for those of you who showed up here, Gloria, what's going on, loved one? I appreciate you for showing up. Again, if you all have any questions, comments, or concerns on tonight's topic, we are discussing mental health and trauma and how these things affect relationships. We don't talk about it. We do not talk enough about our mental health, our emotional health, our spiritual health, and then we don't do nothing about it, or we don't address it seriously enough. And if we address it, then it's just a conversation. We're not really doing anything active about it. I've said this before, and you all really, really need to think about this. When you have a mass of people who are infected by something, regardless to what it is, but they are infected by the same thing, and these people are not physically connected to one another. They are not in the same space. They do not share anything in particular. They're all over the world. They don't even know each other, but they're all infected with the same thing. You have to remember that we are spiritual beings, that this is a spiritual warfare, that everything is happening spiritually. It's also a wake up call. It's also a chastisement. It's also a time for correction and resurrection and protection. All of this is a time for it. We're not paying attention to everything that's happening. We're not paying attention to everything that's happening. We are under attack. And I'm going to go back, like I said it many times before. The reason, and I know folks don't want to hear this, but the reason we are under attack is because of the disobedience of the people to the Most High. I know folks don't want to hear that. I don't know what you're talking about. I know. I got you, Aki. I got you. We are under attack because of the disobedience to the Most High. We were warned this is what's going to happen to your ass if you disobey, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, if you don't represent what God looked like, what God sound like, how God, this is what's going to happen to you as a whole nation of people if you don't. You're going to be in a state of confusion. You're going to be easily tricked. You're going to be led astray and bamboozled and hoodwinked and all. Yeah, you're going to be put in slavery and ain't nobody going to come get you. All these things are going to happen to you. You're going to be the tail. You're going to be borrowers. You're going to go into famine for years. You're not going to have access to stuff. You're going to watch other nations come into your place and take over all your shit. Why? Because you made a vow with me. This is a blood vow. You made a vow with me and you didn't hold up your end. What I'm supposed to do? Just let you go? We ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. People take God for a punk. And I've said this: the female and the masculine, the masculine and the feminine. God, take God ain't no punk on no level. We're not paying attention. We're not taking the word for real, for real. We're not. We're just not. But we want all these good graces to come upon us, but we're not doing our part. Lord, just take this off my mind. Why would I? What are you doing? We want and need to be healed, but we're not asking for forgiveness. We're not turning over. We're not doing that. We're staying in our pig slop. We're staying in the shit that we created. We're staying in our trauma. We're staying in this wickedness. We're staying in it because we done got comfortable. And then we done got so comfortable and perfected it. See, we've perfected it now. So of course we don't want to leave it because we're good at it. I'm good at this wickedness, right? Matter of fact, I can be more wicked than the next person or the next nation. We gonna show them who the most wicked. Uh-huh. So while you showing who the most wicked, you are receiving the most sickness, the most disregard, the most hate, the most lack, the most no concern, all of that, no concern, all of this, the most rape, the most violence, the most psychological, emotional, spiritual dis-ease. Yeah. Why you doing all that? You got the most, or you want to be the best, but you got the best of the worst. You got the best of the worst. The mental health that we're suffering as a people is not by accident. It is not solely created by another human being. Okay? It's not that. Because all of us are not suffering individually from mental health issues on a great level. We may have some things that we're dealing with, okay? But when you're dealing with a whole mass of people who are suffering from the same thing, something is wrong and is bigger than us. I've not heard too many, anybody, I'm not even gonna say too many, I've not heard anybody that discusses mental health issues, that discusses narcissism, that discusses ADHD or schizophrenia or whatever. I have not heard anybody say what we need to do is ask for forgiveness. What we need to do is ask for forgiveness. Change what we have become. Go back to what we were created as. I've not heard it, but we need to reconnect ourselves back to our Creator. We need to, Father, Mother, are you still there? Are you listening? Do you still know my name? Can I call on you at any time of the day? Will you hear me? Have my words, have my prayers become noise to your ears? Will you hear me? Will you respond to me? Because I need you and I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I chose the life of the human, of the carnal being, instead of the spiritual being. I chose this over this because I wanted to experience all of mankind, which is okay to a point, right? To a point. But the rest of it, you got to remember you are a spiritual being with a spiritual purpose. And it cannot be you cannot be utilized in your fullness if you are not in your right mind. Your mind is not a tangible thing. It's a spiritual. Your mind is spiritual. So you are being toyed with spiritually. It's not just they done lost their mind. No, they done lost their whole spirit. Something then came and grabbed the whole spirit, snatch his soul. You know, that song ain't about what I'm talking about, but you know what I'm saying. Snatch his soul, snatch the soul. And I'm gonna put this other one in them and make them believe that that's who they are, that that's what they're supposed to do, that that's their normal. It's not. But because we're practicing our trauma, we're practicing our trauma, we're practicing our trauma, we're perfecting it. We are perfecting our trauma because we refuse to acknowledge it. First of all, we refuse to acknowledge this is what has happened to me. We refuse to talk about it and get some help, get some therapy, get some counseling, all of these things, correct our behaviors. We refuse to do that. We refuse to hold ourselves accountable on how we heal or not. We refuse it. We're refusing the change because the change is uncomfortable. But so is the trauma. The trauma is also uncomfortable. But you done got used to it. You done brought your pillow and your blanket. You can make your little snack. You got some hot water over there, and it's 99 degrees, but you got some hot water, just enough to make you comfortable, to keep you comfortable in your trauma, in your wicked space, in your behavior that you're battling with every day, all night. You're battling with it because the being that you truly are, the being that the Most High is trying to wake up in you, you're not ready to deal with that one because it's going to cause you to not do the things that the one you're used to being was doing. You're going to not do those things that your carnal being has adjusted to, has accepted as normal or pleasurable. You're not ready to let go of those things. So you're going to stay over here or you're going to straddle the fence. Uh-uh. There is no straddling. You're going to be forced to pick a side. You're going to be forced to pick a side. Whichever one you choose, that's what you choose. There's consequences on both sides. But choose wisely and don't bring nobody else into your mess. That part. If you choose to be in a state of mind that is sick, that is, and I'm saying retarded, and I mean it as slow and going backwards, if you decide to stay in that type of mindset, so be it. But don't bring nobody else with you. Let people know I'm not in my right mind. I would love to do that, but I'm not in my right mind and I'm not really even trying to be there. So, best bet for you, go on about your business. People have this thing of telling others that they love them. I love you. I don't want to be without you. I love you. But your behavior says something totally different. Sick mind says something totally different. Your traumatized mind says something totally different. But there's an expectation that because you told them that you love them, that they're supposed to stick around with you in your mess and in your mindset. So what you're saying to me is you love me enough to traumatize me. You want me to stay with you in your trauma. You love me enough to traumatize me, but you don't love me enough to let me go and be healthy. And then some people stay in those types of relationships because they don't love themselves enough to get the hell on because they think they're going to miss something if they walk away from this trauma. You're going to miss something if you walk away from the trauma because you done got used to it or you love this individual. And I love you so much that I'm going to give my whole self away. I'm going to give myself away and I'm going to just give into you and your trauma. Whatever you want to do with me, you do that. We ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. And if you're doing that, stop doing that. Your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health is greater than anything else because it's those things, like I said, that are intangible, but that an adversary can control it the most and the longest because you don't even recognize that the adversary exists or what it's doing to you because it's been doing it for so long that you just being you. Are you? Are you being you? Or are you being told who you are? Are you being led to believe that you are what you were told you were. We have to heal people. We have to heal. We are losing our culture. We are losing our family. We are losing our minds. Literally. We have lost the connection between our resource of the Most High. We've lost our connection because we clipped it. We clipped the umbilical cord. Where we were getting our nutrient from, we cut it. And yet we're still looking for the connection, but you cut it. We disconnected ourselves because we want what the nations got. We want to do what the nations do. Okay. So then when the consequences fall upon the nations, you're going to get that too. Last call, 770-906-5271. 770-906-5271 if you want to call before we make a left. See, G says the enemy wants your cousins to use the blue lynch slavery mentality as an excuse to continue to be full of it. Yep. Instead of taking control and taking responsibility for their own actions. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see if we got anybody else on here. And G, I'm going to connect you with Judah Ali. Okay. All right. If there are no other questions, comments, or concerns, I certainly hope that you all got something from this. Feel free to share the video. I really wanted to go a little bit deeper. Technology said you will not. It's all right. I said what I said. I said what needed to be said. We will probably continue this conversation. If you, and I won't even say if you are suffering, because you probably don't even know if you are. Okay. I'm going to ask that you make it your business to have your mental state, your emotional state, your spiritual state, along with your physical state of health checked regularly. Be checked regularly. It's okay to have somebody to talk to that is professional. It's okay. It's okay if you're not okay, but get some help, get some therapy, get in some prayer, get in some meditation, rebuild or build your connection with the Most High. Do something. Don't just keep living or existing in your trauma and accepting it as normal. It's something in you, of you, and for you that is greater than that. You are not your trauma. You are not what was done to you. You are not what was said to you. You are not what was taken from you. You are not that. You are greater than all the experiences you have ever had or ever will be. You are greater than your experiences and you are stronger than your traumas. Don't keep living in your trauma. You will miss the whole world that was prepared for you. And God is is tapping on folks' shoulders, showing up in the numbers, whatever, all the synchronicities. God is showing up for people and they don't even recognize it or not paying attention or not ready to listen, not ready to see it. God is showing up. You giving the chances to save yourself. You keep giving chances to save yourself. And some of us need to be saved from ourselves. Take heed to what is happening. Do something about your state of mind, your mental, emotional, and spiritual health. Do something about it, please, and thank you. All right, loved ones. No sound. Oh, was there sound before? I don't know what's happening. I'm going off anyway. So replay it, and you can always catch me on Facebook. Let me put the information on here. Give me one moment, please, Facebook. All right, loved ones. So I'm going to make a left. I'm going to get myself ready for tomorrow, provided it shows up. Okay, I'll be ready. I love you on purpose with purpose. Again, make sure you take care of yourselves and others. Okay, I love you on purpose. I see you then. See you again. Peace.